Hi, my name is Ophelia Chambliss, and I am the curator and designer of the Glass Ceiling Project. I came up with the idea for this project right after the election when Kamala Harris, our first female person of color, was elected to that office, and realizing that we've just broken one more glass ceiling in this country. And then I started thinking about women are breaking glass ceilings or still facing the glass ceiling on a regular basis, and came up with the idea of doing a project that involved all women, a representation of women, the voices of women, and the thoughts of women all together around this idea of the first time or an opportunity when they had broken the glass ceiling, realized that there was even a glass ceiling, or reached it and touched it but wasn't able to get beyond it. For me, I have probably been breaking glass ceilings my entire life at a very early age. And my mother and I bumped heads a lot because she's always telling me, you think you can do anything. And I've always felt like, yeah, basically I can. My mother never learned how to drive. My father had glaucoma and had lost his eyesight for some time. And in Illinois, they had a hardship license. So I've been driving since I was 14 years old, taking care of family business, doing things that little girls in the 60s were not always doing. My mother used to make me wear dresses because that's what girls used to wear, and I would get safety pins and I'd pin it in the middle, make them out of culottes so that I didn't have to feel like I'm walking around in a dress all the time. Even in high school, the choices that you had were home economics classes or typing courses. But just down the street from the all-girls high school that I attended, there was an all-boys school, and they had drafting classes and engineering courses at the same time as the home ec and the typing courses. So I, started a petition and said that I don't want to take home economics, and I still cannot cook to this day, and that's when it all started. And I was able to go to the all-boys school, every Tuesday and Thursday and take these drafting courses. I started out in architecture when I initially went to college and found it to be a very challenging field because it was male dominated. And while I could have stayed in that field and challenged, what were these glass ceilings or the fact that, you're a woman in our industry, I also felt like there were better ways for me to use my strengths and talents in other areas. So I went into initially industrial design and then graphic design and felt that I had a lot of power in communication. So I found a great deal of power in my voice and my creative projects, and that's what kind of led me to do this project. What I want people to take away from this project is to realize that the glass ceiling still exists. We're very quick to say, oh, once and done. When Barack Obama was elected, like, oh, we had a black president, we're done. We don't have to do that anymore. We've met a challenge. When Kamala Harris was elected, I don't want people to think that it's done now, it's over, but that women every day face these challenges. And in these interviews, in these discussions, I want people to realize that we have to continue to challenge that. I want people to realize that we've allowed a lot of the glass ceilings, these barriers, to become normal. That women do this and men do that, and women can't do this. So I want people to realize that it still exists. It is still a challenge. It is still an issue. And I want them to hear the stories. I want them to see the images. I want them to read the stories and do something about it and recognize it. And especially for young women and girls, I want them to know that the women before them have faced these challenges so that they don't have to. I believe that this project is even especially important here in the York area. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, where things are a bit, I don't want to say really progressive, but things are different. When I moved here, there were ceilings everywhere. I remember being and challenging one of my employers, one of the bosses, and his comment to me was, "You are an insolent woman, and I feel sorry for your husband." And I thought, oh my goodness, I can't believe people still say those sorts of things anymore. But just even being able to see it, when you buy a home and you're unmarried, you're listed as a spinster. I've always considered myself to be independently owned and operated, being a single woman and being self-employed. I never changed my name when I was married, and people thought that was pretty crazy. So I just want people to know that you can challenge these standards, you can challenge, the status quo, and we can accomplish great things. And I really am proud of a lot of the women that I've had an opportunity to work with throughout this project. I'm very excited about the idea that doors are opening. And because once you do open a door, it is open. So now we see the possibilities. When I very first thought of this project, the very first painting I did was of this little black girl who is 4 years old. Her name's Cupcake. They call her Cupcake. And the thought of this 4-year-old black girl living in Mississippi can be anything that she wants to be. When we're kids, we always are told, our parents, oh, you can be anything you want to be. But can we really? Are those opportunities really there? But now that that particular door has opened, we can. And I think that we need to start rushing through that door in droves at this point, now that it's open.